Hello and welcome to the Leeds podcast. My name's Darragh and I'm joined by Rocco D.
Hello there.
The Leeds podcast is sponsored by Basably. Basably on 6 Buller Street in Harrogate for all your camera needs. They're doing a range of cameras, spot and scopes, binoculars, and everything in between. Rocco, any particular brands you like in Basably?
I love Pentax. I'm a big fan of Pentax.
Do you actually have any Pentax gear? Or is that just
no, my brother used to have a Pentax camera that he got from Basably. So that's why it's always in my head. It'll never let me down. The camera might, but
keep it in the family. Keep it in the family. So yeah, all your top brands: Fuji, Nikon, Leica, Pentax, Sony, Zeiss, Swarovski, all the best brands, and of course they will buy your own gear off you if it's in good nick, and they can resell it. So get down to 6 Buller Street in Harrogate for all those needs. Particularly, as we probably have a January sale on in there, which I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm hoping it is, which is why I said probably.
Something about 10% off online as well. Was that for used gear? I think it might have been. Let's say it's 10% off used gear online.
See, this is the problem, because you and James recorded last week. I was really ill. People could probably still hear it in my sinuses. But you guys recorded last week and probably gave the best, from what I understood, it was the best Basably ever. Advertising.
It was the best podcast ever. It's an absolute crying shame. We were both on fire. It was amazing.
So for people who don't know, because we didn't publicise it because we were hoping to get it fixed, there was a technical problem with the recording. Rocco and James recorded. All seemed fine. Nice podcast after the Harrogate match, where absolutely neither of the two of them were outed as a Harrogate fan, especially not Rocco. And the recording went into the ethos of internet land here at Riverside, which is the software we use for our YouTube and audio feed, and has yet to been recovered.
Yeah, what a shame. But anyway, it was a nice win. Everyone won, I thought. Well, my dad actually said that in his match report. He said, yeah, Leeds and Harrogate won because Harrogate did great and Leeds won the match. So happy days.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done to Harrogate in terms of their performance. Local club, local derby. They gave it a really good go. But we're not here to talk about that one. We're here to talk about the Sheffield Wednesday game. But before we get into that, obviously, we are missing the central figure in the Leeds Stat podcast, which is James. Unfortunately, James has had a bereavement this week. So from my behalf, I'm sure, Rocco, you're going to issue it from your behalf. Full condolences to James, and perhaps the extended family on your. So with that in mind, James will be back next week, but you're stuck here with me and Rocco for the next little while as we go through all the ins and outs of a fabulous 3-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. Perhaps the archetypal Farke win, get an early goal. I won't say control the game, but cruise through the game on relatively autopilot. Bring on a couple of subs. They have their impact. Scoreline looks better at the end, looks comfortable.
Yeah. I would say it would have been if we hadn't have scored the third goal, because it had to be 2-0 really to be archetypal Farke, didn't it? 3-0's a bit of an outlier for us. But it was, yeah, absolutely. And again, this is the thing. Obviously, we've got an amazing squad. We've got those incredible wingers to come on. But, Farke's made the changes, and the changes have done the job again. He gets stick for making changes that don't work. But actually, when you look at it, most of the time, the players are coming on and scoring. Yeah, it says more about the players than about Farke, let's be right. But still, really, really good. But yeah, it was a tough afternoon, wasn't it? It wasn't, I said to my mate on probably about 80 minutes, I just said, I am not enjoying this. Like, it was getting really hairy when they started having a few corners towards the end. But yeah, 3-0 in the end, it's a massive, massive confidence booster. That result in itself, I think, probably just what we needed, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of bringing that result about, we obviously had an interest in starting 11. Stroke is out for 3 weeks, we hope, with a relatively minor injury. Now, I think there's some scans due this week, which will shed more light on that. But at the initial assessment, it's 3 weeks. The unfortunate thing for me is this time last year when he went out injured, it was supposed to be for about 3 weeks as well. And we know we missed him for the full season, which it didn't seem to affect us all that much. We went on that fantastic run, ended up top of the league. But then when the SHIT did hit the fan, you didn't have that squad to call on. You couldn't put Ampadu back into midfield. You were just lacking options. I think what's even more different this season is I think Stroke's our best player this season. I think he's been absolutely immense all season. Every single game, 7 and 8 out of 10s. He's really evolved into a leader on the pitch. And I think he's going to be a big, big miss. What do you reckon, Rocco?
Yeah, I was gutted when I heard that, and I'm very worried. I do think we've got the squad to cope. So I think, with like centre-backs, obviously we've got Ampadu that can drop in, and we've still got Woba waiting in the wings as well. And then, midfield makes up for Ampadu, obviously, with the two that have been playing most of the season, and then Gruev back now. Diavugi's there. Hopefully not centre-back because he was absolutely atrocious against Harrogate. But nevertheless, we should be able to cope. But yeah, I was worried. I think I said in the group, didn't I? It feels like everything's starting to go wrong for us. I think that was an overreaction, but I do hope it's 3 weeks because, I just feel like the team I think he gives us a big physical presence that is really important. I think Farker maybe mentioned it today as well, like the size of him, set pieces and stuff, but just in general play, he is a monster. And Ampadu played great today, and he always does in defence, and he's got a great record there. But there's no doubt we'll miss Strouk, and we'll miss him for some big games like Burnley away is going to be tough. I don't know if he's going to be back for Sunderland at the best case, probably not anyway. So a challenge, let's say.
Yeah, indeed. It's funny you mentioned that thing about the idea that things are going against us. I think we often have that idea here at Leeds that things do go against us. But it was funny because when Gruev came on today, I had the opposite because I thought, wow, isn't it just such good timing that Gruev is back maybe not 2 months, but maybe 6 weeks ahead of schedule at a time when Ampadu is dropping back into the back four, because we all know how good Gruev was last season in terms of that holding midfield position. And just in terms of the stars aligning and getting a bit of luck at the right time, if you are going to have an injury to one of the two centre-backs, obviously you don't want it when Gruev is out injured because that leaves you very short in midfield again, but him coming back, and I thought he did well today. But before we get into that, the other big talking point obviously today, and look, the whole Meslier in-out thing has been talked to death this week, but he was back in. Probably not that big a surprise. I think Farken nailed his colours to the mast pretty early on that this week.
He did, yeah. Last week in the end, wasn't it? He came out with his Harrogate presser and was, unequivocal in his defence of Meslier. And I wasn't particularly happy that he was going to continue, but now the dust has settled and now that we've won, I'm feeling more all right about it. And Parker's got the right to make the decision, and if he thinks that's what's best, then fair enough. And I must say as well, so like Darlow in the Harrogate game, obviously he did okay, did fine. But honestly, like if that was Meslier doing exactly what Darlow did, I think people would have been losing their shit because he dropped across and he did a bad kick out, and everyone would have concentrated on that and not the easy save he made and the good rushing out. That would have just been swept under the carpet. But because it was Darlow, it was the other way around. And even after today's game, I think, people have been, criticising Meslier. And again, other way around, I'm almost certain if Darlow's in goal today, it'd be unanimous praise for Darlow after today. So, I think a lot of it's perception now, which is part of the problem in a way, because, there's a lot of stress at Elland Road every time the ball goes near him. But I'm just backing Farker. If we'd have lost, I wouldn't have said that, but he who wins is right.
Yeah, you're right, though. And I think that shows, the respect Leeds fans do have for Farker, because as much as we will criticise him from time to time, and a lot of Leeds fans will do that, I think there is a reluctant acceptance that, okay, fair enough, if Meslier is your man, that's fair enough. It's your choice. And in fairness, it is going to fall on Farker's head if this doesn't work out for him. If Meslier does drop a few clangers later on in the season and we don't get promotion, Farker's out the door. So he's nailed his colours to the mast. I really hope it works for him, because I do like Meslier. Personally, I think I'd like another keeper, a top-class keeper, to come in right now and see us through the rest of the season. But if it's not happening, I accept it, and let's get on with it. And I tell you, he was good today. In fact, one of the things I did see yesterday, and we will get into the match in a second, did you see the goal Kai Havertz scored for Arsenal against Villa yesterday, where he headed it down and it hit Martinez on the side of the the shin and
Oh,
went in.
yes. Yeah.
Like, that's the type of thing that Meslier gets absolutely pilloried
Yeah.
for. I should have saved it if he moved an inch to the right. But, like, these things do happen in goalkeeping. Don't get me wrong. I've seen the stats this week. 19th on the list of shot stoppers. Very poor statistically as a goalkeeper over the last few seasons. So, as I said, I would like to see a change, but I do accept that if it's not happening, it's not happening, and he's not probably as bad as we've made out to be.
Yeah, I was sort of, like the same sort of thing, but the opposite. So, like, watching Trafford on Friday night save those penalties, and that, like, magnified things for me. I was, the Norwich penalty where he stood there and reacted late, and I just thought it was ridiculous that he got abused for that. But looking at that penalty compared to, Trafford's reactions and the saves that he made, that depressed me a bit. But he's probably a special case. He's obviously a really talented keeper, and his stats are completely mental. Like, you couldn't expect, you can't be asking for those stats that he's achieving at the moment. So it's a bit of an unfair comparison, maybe. But Meslier must improve his stats for sure.
But to be fair, it's not an unfair comparison. He's a goalkeeper in the same league. In fact, he's only a couple of places below us. So it's an absolutely fair comparison. It's just a very warped comparison because as Trafford is doing so well, but he has a thumb name. So, we couldn't really be cheering for him, could we? He's hardly going to get a song, is he? So, into the match, Leeds started off thunderously. I mean, there was literally nothing to talk about up until the goal because we just scored within, I had a look at it, it was 2 minutes and 51 seconds. Brilliant ball in by Rothwell, 50-yard pass that absolutely destroyed their defence. I know the keeper got there first, but he got there first by about 6 inches. Like, I mean, to have the pace of that ball was nearly perfect. Fair play to Brendan Aronson. Has been one time saying that today. He made a pest of himself and obviously put the keeper off enough that the keeper didn't gather the ball. Ball falls straight to Manor Sullivan on the spot. He looks up, 2 men on the line, blasts in between them. What a goal. What a start.
Yeah, I was completely convinced that he was going to miss it right until it hit the net. I think it's from watching Bamford all these years, like, God knows if it had fallen to him, probably wouldn't have got his shot away. But the ball was magnificent. And to be honest, I think he was a bit unlucky. Like, it seemed to skip off the surface when I've looked at the replays. It was a beautiful pass. The goalie, I suppose it's a mistake. But Solomon, like you say, on the spot. Lovely finish. And it was the perfect start. And I mean, normally I would say for a 12 o'clock kickoff, like, it's just what you need to get the crowd going. But I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if it's because it was such a gloomy day, like, it just didn't feel like an early kickoff, actually, like, in the ground. Not that the atmosphere was amazing or anything, but just never really felt like that. Maybe it was because of the goal as well. But it was the absolute perfect start. And at that point, I'm there hoping that, the floodgates are going to open. But completely different game to what I expected thereafter, really.
Yeah, probably you have to give a little bit of credit to Sheffield Wednesday on that front. Like, they fought hard. They do actually look like a well-organised side. I went to the game at home last season when they were really struggling before they brought in Danny Rowe, and they were awful. They just shut up shop. They had 11 men behind the ball. They didn't have one attack. They didn't look like a team that were even going to stay in the championship. So for them to be 7th now, and they actually looked all right. The funny thing is, actually, for me, they look good except for up front. Josh Windass, Dean Windass' son, he's the type of player that our fans are kind of shouting out what that Peru to be. He'll run around, he'll barge into people. He's absolutely crap. Like, he's not going to score any goals. And the next big chance actually fell to him, ball straight through the middle. Looked to all the world like he was just going to take one touch and finish it. And out of nowhere, in comes Ampadu on the cover, a left centre back, slides in, wins the ball cleanly, and gets us out of, I wouldn't say get us out of jail, because it was a good chance. It wasn't a spectacular chance, but it was only a good chance because Rodon and Ampadu had narrowed that space. And I don't think Rodon would have got there, but he gave Windass only one opportunity, which was, you're going to have to take this quick, because if you don't, I will be there. But Ampadu was there even quicker.
Yeah, it was quality. And we had one just before that, I think. Byram did a sort of last-ditch tackle. I think we were pretty wide open at times, especially down Byram's side. They were having two men over, almost constantly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they were causing us so many problems. I mean, Parker said afterwards we defended perfectly, but I'm not so sure. Not in those early stages, anyway. They seem to be causing us quite big problems, really. But yeah, I bet Ampadu likes that tackle. Back in defence. Making a tackle like that. It's just what he needed, really. Lovely.
Yeah, it was a captain's
proper
tackle.
cruncher. Yeah.
It was,
to be honest, though, the referee was so bad that I half expected him to give a penalty for that.
But you know what? While you were doing that, people might have seen me put my head down with my pen and I wrote down the ref. And let's have a talk about the ref, because my God, I think that's the most bizarre refereeing performance I've ever seen. He was pulling stuff back for tiny little tackles here and there, little short pulls, little flips on the toe and on the ankle. And then there was a passage of play. I'm not sure how obvious it was when you were in the stadium, but the commentators were very good, almost laughing about it. Where there was 6 crunching tackles, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. And you're kind of like, someone's going to break a leg here. Like, it was insane. His performance was all over the place. There was one where a Sheffield Wednesday player clattered one of our players. I don't know who it was, and probably Dan James, because it was always Dan James, to be fair to him. And even the commentator said, and such will take the book. No, it's just a fact. And the ref came back and actually did book him in the end, but like he wasn't going to. I think Ampadu was probably in his ear or something. What a weird performance. What was that like in the stadium?
It was infuriating. I mean, it was basically, first half it was like, it was a non-contact sport when they had the ball, and then when Leeds had the ball, obviously they could do whatever they wanted. But then by the end he was giving us many bad decisions to us. It was completely ludicrous. But like the one that annoyed me the most was in the second half, when I think in the end the free kick that he stopped it for led to the second goal. But like there was a foul on the Leeds play. He played advantage, and then as soon as Leeds had an advantage, Ramazani was about to sprint away, and then he pulled it back. Oh my God, it was and also like the linesman down our side, like the amount of times he didn't step in and give the right decision when the ref clearly didn't know or didn't have a clue what to do. It was absolutely ridiculous. But again, like I've said this before, like a lot of the time at Elland Road, these sorts of refereeing performances only help us. Like even if it doesn't help us in the short term, like it gets the crowd going and really basically brought the atmosphere, that really, got everyone riled up and proper up for it, just because it was so bad.
It was funny because the commentators on the feed I was watching it on must have been Sheffield Wednesday or something along those lines. But even they were getting frustrated with him. So like that one you were mentioning where he played on and then Ramazani gets the ball kind of it's just inside their half and he was about to break with it. They even kind of laughed and were like, what was he thinking there? Like Leeds, he played Leeds' advantage, and when Leeds had the advantage. The other one was when their player nearly caught the ball. That would have been down very near you. They were on the attack about 70 minutes. And the ball
God,
massive handball. And there, again, the commentator was like, he was playing for the LA Lakers there. Like they were very honest about kind of the fact that they deserved to have free kicks and things called against them, which you don't often get from an away.
I've not seen the replay of this, and maybe it wasn't a penalty, but like Aronson went sort of in the second half. He was running into the box, and it looked like he was completely poleaxed by their player. Like looked like an elbow, to the face. Obviously, he gave nothing, and then a couple of minutes later, Aronson trips over the ball and wins a free kick. It's just like, at that point, it's just like you're just laughing about it because the guy just didn't have a clue.
Yeah, he was poor. Well, that's a good segue because another person who I thought was poor today again. Was Brendan Aronson. And I'm really conscious about this because I don't want to come across as constantly beating Aronson across the head. It's not the type of podcast I want this to be. It's not the type of person I want to be. Boy, Christ, he frustrates me. And it just got to a stage today where every time he got the ball in a forward position, I almost just said, well, this is going nowhere. And he was running into blind alleys when he should have been laying that off and maybe making a run. He's just running with the ball into a blind alley until 2 or 3 players surround him and he gives the ball away. I thought he was, again, busy today, as he always is. But Christ, he was poor on the ball. And certainly there was a number of attacking opportunities we had where, we'll say, look at that game and say, it was a bit of a boring 1-0 up until the second goal. Yeah, because we had about 4 or 5 chances to create good attacking positions. And as soon as it gets to Aronson, the whole situation just breaks down with him on the ball.
Yeah. There was one time in the second half where he got the ball in the box, think he's just going to shoot, and then he's thinking about it, and then the chance is just gone, and ends up trying to block a cross that's blocked. And yeah, it's just, I mean, he did do some nice stuff, with footwork again, getting away from defenders and getting on the turn. But yeah, like I guess said on the group to you, there's a record number of Aronson noises coming out of me. Just that, oh God, like when he's wasted something, it's a shame, because I think he's doing well up to a point, but then it just doesn't happen. And there was one as well. So, and it's not just Aronson, it's our whole team in terms of taking shots. Like there was a corner that was cleared to the edge of the box, perfectly for Aronson to have a shot, on the volley, and he turned down the opportunity. And like 5 seconds later, like Mellier's got it, and they're out on the halfway line, and the attack stopped. And then you compare that to Ramazani hitting the ball for the third goal, and look what happens. It goes through a couple of bodies and end up getting a goal. It just hit it. But I suppose it's about confidence as well. Probably think it's also about Farke. I think he just wants total control, doesn't he? And they don't want to take shots. I think Tanaka had a shot from outside the box, nicely hit. But apart from that, we only really shoot when we've got a glorious chance to shoot, really.
Yeah, there's certainly a bit of not so much overplaying, but we don't shoot from outside the box half as often as we could. Although a little bit more this season, which I think we've already commented on. Another player played well today for me was Jayden Bogle. I thought he looked really up for it today. Some brilliant attacking runs, good tackles. What did you make to his performance?
Yeah, he was my man of the match. Thought he was great. Thought he was up and down. Thought really good on the ball, dribbling past players, lovely little balls inside fullbacks, outside fullbacks. Really good. Good link-up play down the right with James. In the box all the time, a threat. Thought he was absolutely excellent, yeah. Didn't have to do too much defending, of course. But yeah, I think he's getting really good. Can't remember last time he had a bad game. I think he's looking like a really excellent signing.
Yeah, me too, actually. And like as you talk about those opportunities for him to have poor games, and it has happened this season. It's probably been a while since he's had one. And even if he has another one anytime now, I still reckon he's a really good signing, because if you think across, he's playing most games across a 46-game season. If he has 5-6 bad games out of 46, that's a pretty good ratio. So for me, I think he's been really good actually since those first 4 games, barring a couple of blips in between. But I thought he was really good today, really up for it. Obviously against the big rivals of his former team, and I'm sure he would have got a bit of stick from their fans, which he wanted to give up to them. But there was one I thought was excellent where he burst through 2 players. They were kind of very close together, and he just literally burst through the 2 of them and pushed the 2 of them out of the way. It almost reminded me of R9 Ronaldo, the way he used to do that. So go on, Jayden, lad, go on.
That's so funny. I know what you're on about. I said to my mate, God, he's like Pele, but it wasn't like Pele at all. It was like Ronaldo. I got close, but too far away.
So either way, if Jayden Bogle's doing something right, it's being compared to Pele and Ronaldo by Rocco and Darragh on Leeds. So we just dropped 1,000 listeners there. So there wasn't many chances throughout the game. Like Dan James had one. He broke down the right hand side, drew a good save. We get a couple of chances in the second half. Another one, Dan James, where he drilled it in. It was kind of a pass shot, side foot and hard. Keeper get down. I think the defender cleared it out, dealt with it. There wasn't a great deal of chances. Anyone spring to your mind?
No, not really. No, and I think that's a bit of a pattern for us. I don't think we create very many chances, but create enough to score the goals. I suppose that's part of the thing. Like, we're not having shots, but we're waiting until we've created such a good chance that we actually score. But yeah, I mean, I thought Pirro had a really good game today. I was really pleased with him. I thought his link-up play was great. I think he looks more mobile, and I think he's pressing. He's chasing down the keeper. He looks a lot fitter, I think. I think he's he was ran his ass off today, chasing defenders and back passes and things like that. I was really happy with him. So yeah, I don't know what they'll do on Wednesday, whether he'll switch it up again. And because again, I thought Joseph did really well when he came on. But yeah, I don't think Peru had a sniff. Oh, he had one volley in the first half, didn't he? That was deflected over. I think that was pretty much it. But yeah, I don't think anyone had a bad game really. Maybe apart from the Aronson thing. Everyone did their jobs pretty well.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not even saying Aronson had a particularly bad game. It was just really frustrating in Paris because, as you said, in every game he does good things. He just also does bad things. But go back to the chances creating thing. I do think he's an issue when it comes to that because he is that midfield fulcrum who's supposed to be creative. And as I've already said, a lot of opportunities break down when he's on the ball. Like, I have no problem with a number 10 losing the ball because they have to try to be creative. The problem I have with Aronson is that he loses the ball when he should be trying to be creative, but he's not very. He's just indecisive, and he lets that one you're talking about. I remember the one he had an opportunity to have a shot or lay it off. He didn't either, and he ends up in the kind of near the byline, probably in front where you sit at the Revy stand, with 3 players around him. And last day he's got nowhere to go, so he just kicks it off them. Whereas there was an opportunity to do one of 2 more creative things beforehand. But we won't keep battering poor Brendan. Subs came on then on 70 minutes, about 68 minutes. And as you mentioned, I thought Joseph, who I've been very critical of this season, was really good and played a big part in the third goal, but we'll get to that. And we saw a return of Ilya Gruev for Joe Rothwell and put a bit of steel back into that midfield. I thought he made some good tackles and once again, as always, never gave the ball away.
Yeah, I thought really good changes, actually. Yeah, I thought it was, perfect decision, really, to solidify the midfield at that point and get Joseph on for the extra legs. This is the thing as well. The squad is ridiculous. We'll probably talk about the window at the end, but what a squad we've got. That we've basically got 2 teams just about. That we could field and get promoted. So yeah, it's pretty greedy, demanding more. But or is it greedy or is it ambitious? I don't know. But yeah, I think it really sort of hammered that point home today. When you're bringing on subs of that quality, we've pretty much got what we need to. You need a Gruev just to calm things down, bring him on, and it works absolutely perfectly. You need the fresh wingers to. Just basically, just pulverize the tired fullbacks for the last 15 minutes. It's just absolutely brilliant. What an absolute pleasure to have that in the squad. Yeah, I don't think Leeds, obviously we're in the second tier now, but yeah, we've never had a squad as strong as this in terms of the level that we're at. It's pretty ludicrous. And to be fair, it's not like we've spent a load of money. It is like the Wednesday manager said at the end, we've just recruited really well. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, compared to where we were under that clown at Sevilla, to have been recruiting the way we've done with the likes of Tanaka and Gruev. And it's funny because in the whole midfield debate, no one's ever mentioned Gruev. Everyone's talked about Ampadu or Rothwell, Ampadu or Tanaka, maybe leaving Rothwell and Tanaka there, playing Ampadu centre back. No one's brought in Gruev. But seeing him today, and I've always be a fan of Ampadu midfield, so I'll just put that out there. But if there was a midfield of Gruev and Tanaka, they'd never give the ball away. Between the 2 of them, they would literally never give the ball away, which if your 2 midfielders are doing, you got a half a chance in every single game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was the other 2 subs, though, that really made the big impact. Well, one was Little and Largy. It was the larger one who had the bigger impact. And I think I obviously said last time I was on the pod that Farka has to start doing everything he can to work him back into the team. And he epitomised today why I said that. He's the only one in that team who would just be like, I'm taking this ball and I'm going to keep swiveling on it until I get a shot off. Because either way, I'm shooting. And the quality is obviously there. So Bogle breaks down the right wing. Lovely cut back to Ramazani. Great first touch, takes him away from the defender, across his body. And then he's met with 2 defenders and he just kind of turns his back on them. He looks like he's going to lay it off. And at that point, that's what Aronson would have done. Aronson would have laid that back to whoever was in front of him, which is not necessarily the worst decision in the world either. But Ramazani has that extra bit of quality with him. He turns left, he turns right, shimmies, he faces up his defender, and eventually smacks it between his legs. It bowls in bottom corner with a lot of power. Great goal, really great goal.
Yeah, it's top draw stuff. That's Premier League quality on that strike. Very little backlift, and he's just absolutely lashed it into the corner as soon as it left his foot. I knew it was in perfect view of it, but there's just no saving it. It was a brilliant strike through the defender's legs, of course, as we like to see. But yeah, no one else would have taken that shot. It was absolutely awesome, and the celebration to match as well. He did an impression of Liam Cooper's daughter. She'd come on in the last home game doing cartwheels in front of the Kop. So nice to see it after a goal. Brilliant strike. Yeah, what do you do? I guess you just have to keep rotating them. I don't know how, the way Solomon's playing, and, Dan James is just so reliable, and, he can't really be dropped. So it's a tough one, but what a great situation to be in, to have him. Again, strange that we didn't see him in those 2 games whatsoever. When we drew the 2 games, he never came on. Maybe had a little niggle, but yeah, great player. I love watching him.
I know what I'd do. Brendan would be on the bench for a couple of games, which, again, in the terms of rotation, I'm not saying the guy has no part to play, but yeah, for me, I'd love to see Aronson rested for a couple of games and an opportunity given to Ramazani to start, whether that's on the left, the right, or the middle. I don't care. Let's let James, Solomon, and Ramazani even rotate between those 3 that they want, which is funny because we're not mentioning Nanto, who's obviously been a little bit off it lately. And
the Harrogate game, that front 4 is the front 4 that I've said pretty much all season that is our best front 4. So I was so excited to see that, and yeah, didn't really do anything, did we? So
wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I know. But if you kept playing that lineup, I'm sure that they'd still have fantastic games. I just almost feel like Parker can't really go wrong. I think whoever he picks, it's up to the players just to do the job. If those players go out there and don't score goals, that's on them. How can you blame Farke? They're such good players that they have to just deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. And the players coming in know they have to score goals or create goals in order to try and oust the players who are in. So we're in a very enviable position with these players. Which leads us to the third goal, which was 2 subs combining. It was a corner came in, goes to Matteo Joseph, who 100% meant his header. 100%. If you watch his face, his whole head turns away from the goal. A bit of a strange decision, but he picked out Ramazani in the edge of the box, who again is the only player who would have hit that first time on the volley, and it gets through a crowd of players a bit tamely, and out Tanaka is there to flick it into the empty space. Brilliant goal.
What a moment. Absolutely just a fantastic goal. Great to just finish off nicely, cherry on the cake, and to see Tanaka score at the Kop end, it was absolutely amazing. And also should say as well, if that was in the Premier League, it would have been completely ruined because I'd have just been stood there waiting to see whether he was offside or not. 'Cause I was expecting the flag to go up, and when it doesn't, then you can celebrate. It's only a second rather than a minute. So that was nice to be able to celebrate that properly. The header was it was a bit bizarre. It was at first I thought defensive header, but then like you say, watching the replay, he's picked him out. I know probably the angle of where he was, he couldn't head it towards goal anyway. So really clever decision. Rod Wallace-esque, setting up your boa all those years ago.
Yeah. No, Rod was more kind of lateral. This was full on back to his own goal. But it's a full credit to him because it was a great header, and he picked his man out at the edge of the box. I wasn't free, so well done, Matteo Joseph. So that was the end of the match. I think there nothing much really happened thereafter. But as I look at my watch, we're in the 19th of January. We haven't signed anyone. Where are we, Rocco?
I think, I sort of speculated at the beginning that we've probably got a 3-man shortlist, and if one of them comes available and we can get them and no one else comes in from the Premier League, then we might sign somebody, thinking about Buendia in those terms. Someone like him anyway, maybe. And I think that's probably where we're at. And Farke, he was asked about it, and he named Buendia, said he was one of his best players for Norwich, but I don't talk about players. And to me, I've always said Farke's actually really transparent, but he does it in a thinly veiled way, and I can't help but feel like he's telling us that he wants to sign Buendia. So let's see. And he's not played football all season, so it'll take him a bit of time to get up to speed. So what? I think that's absolutely fine. If it took him a month, Even if it took him 2 months and we had Buendia, firing on all cylinders in April, and then we've got him next season, hopefully in the Premier League, then absolutely fantastic. Yeah, but I don't know. I really wanted us to buy a keeper. I did, but I don't think that's happening now. And I just think, I don't know, striker, I just can't see it again for the reasons I've said before. Bamford won't come off the books. And, Joseph's doing well, Peru's doing well. I just can't see it.
You're almost buying for contingency, aren't you? It's a case of if Peru gets injured, if Aronson gets injured, that's when you're buying a contingency, but you're not really looking to buy anyone who'll come straight into the starting 11, which I suppose is a normal thing for a team that are top of the league. Although saying that, you're top of the league in the second division, so it's not like you're not Man City, you're not Real Madrid. It's not as if there's no one out there in the world who can improve your team. There's hundreds of players out there in the world who could improve a championship team, even a top championship team. And you look at, in fairness, Sheffield United are making some good, after rumours are to believe, some good inroads. That guy today playing for Sheffield Wednesday, Shea something or other, I think he's being recalled and looks like he's going to Sheffield United. You got Tom Cannon perhaps going there. I know he just kicked lumps out of us for Stoke, but he scored 9 goals for Stoke, who are a poor side. He could obviously do better than that if he was in a better side. I wouldn't personally mind seeing a lone striker, and I would like a goalkeeper, if I'm honest. I think that's probably the one position I'd be absolutely fine with us putting in someone of supreme quality just to see us through, because you do see the value of James Trafford at Burnley. You see the value that those type of players can bring. But again, in Farke we trust. I'm not mad on Buendia, if I'm honest, just purely because he hasn't played. I think we've seen that backfire, particularly with Leeds, where we think, well, get him now and then you can have him for the Premier League next season. I think other clubs don't do that. They just got to get the player for now, get the job done.
Yeah.
And we'll worry about next season.
Yeah. That's it, yeah. I don't know. I just don't know what's right. I've got 2 schools of thought on it, yeah. And you look back, obviously talking years and years ago, went and signed Chapman in 1990. Even Don Revie went and signed Alan Peacock, an England international that he took to the second division, and he banged in a load of goals to make sure that we got over the line. So sort of is the done thing. I saw a link to Iheanacho, who I think he's at Sevilla, isn't he? Playing under our good mate Victor. So yeah, he would seem like a pretty decent signing, I would have thought. But again, he's very similar to Joseph. It's a bit of a kick in the teeth to Joseph, but we want to get promoted, don't we? It's not about keeping people happy.
Yeah, fair. I think Joseph, you can't have any sympathy for Joseph. He's had multiple opportunities, and as of now, he's got 2 goals and 3 assists. So he needs to be doing better himself. Yeah. Bit unlucky today, obviously, not to get an assist, because that header was fantastic. But we are in a situation where if Peru was to get injured, I certainly don't think Joseph would score the goals to get us promoted, whereas Iheanacho could fill that gap. Speaking of Buendia, obviously his former club Norwich are up against us on Wednesday.
Yeah, I did some research before this, 5 seconds before we came online, and I noticed that they're very streaky. They have a few good results. Well, they seem to have 4 good results, then 4 bad results, then 4 good results. And yeah, at the moment, I'm pleased to report that they are in the middle of their bad results. They've lost the last 2 games. So hopefully we'll make that 3 for them on Wednesday night. And yeah, I don't know, just same as always, expect to control the game and win 2-0.
And it'd be interesting to see the starting lineup, because there's obviously a lot of competition for places now, and Stroud being out, there's the opportunity. Vuber could be back. He could get the shout. You could have Aberdeen midfield. You could have this fair shout on Gruev starting the game. This for the first time this season. Well, not first time this season. First time since his injury. Ramazani's knocking on the door. I certainly would have no complaints with Joseph starting and Peru coming off the bench, because that's worked really well. So I think half the fun actually being a Leeds fan these days is checking the team sheet an hour before kickoff.
It's like being a Man City fan, isn't it?
Oh, exactly, yeah. Well, I think that's everything from Leeds for this week. Unless you have anything else you'd like to add, Rocco?
No, I'm all good, thank you.
Okay, well, with that, folks,
well done.
Thank you very much. Listen, thanks for joining, Rocco. And next week you'll have your more polished presenter. James will be back in the hot seat, thank God, kept guiding us through it. But until then, have a great week, Leeds fans, and we'll see you at Norwich. Take care.